But yeah, I don't know, man. And once again, it's like Fred also, I think, yesterday and before, he's saying something about how, it was the day at, or that night he was wearing a wire on 980. Dude, after he came in the fucking road that night on the bike and broke up traffic well after the helicopters in there, well after it was dark, and he's how traffic got broke up to where finally the stuck neighbors and searchers could get out. We didn't speak that night. He kept his head straight, kept going. He just pissed off the tank coffee on that type of thing. And but yeah, didn't see or hear from Fred again. That was it. He came in, poof, no more Fred. Did see Don that night. He was going to Fred's, in the Subaru, and it was after everything got a little quieter. And yeah, but Fred, like Monster had said, he didn't see us for like a day or two, but we saw him coming up the rise looking for an imaginary fucking dog, and both of us went, well, here he fucking comes. He's snooping for info. And he immediately started trying to feed out this bullshit, like someone was, gone from Friday 4 and dead and this, there, and all this bullshit garbage. Um, he was bitching about Hawkins County and his buddy and his body and all that. And then, all this other fuck shit, and, but trying to say summer was gone, and he added in that him and Dawn hadn't been tight in forever. He didn't know what happened. It was like 6 months for all this bullshit. And, then he said he didn't even know she was gone, right? And very distant language where it concerned her, and I thought that probably more odd than Candace and Dawn having weird language. I thought it was more odd. I was like, why the fuck is Fred not saying her name? Hell, he was closer to her than just about anybody, been around her more than anybody probably in Hollow. Why is he calling her that kid or this, yeah? And why is he trying to separate himself from Dawn? And what the hell is going on right now? But anyway, he tells he's just digging for shit. And then, points there in the first few days, he kept doing that weird shit coming to our driveway. Now, Monster said we were just hanging out by my driveway. We weren't the first time, but Little and I and Monster were going out and headed somewhere. And Don come down from the driveway, and he did indeed try to hand Monster money, but it was a few bucks, and it was for the food and cigarettes that I was like, man, do y'all need anything? Not folks knew, can't get out of there, they're being interviewed and all shit, the feds upon you. And he was like, well, we could use some cigarettes. And I wouldn't take the money that first night. I was like, no, no. And the second day when he offered it, we were like, no, man, y'all don't need that. You're probably not going to be working for a minute, right? And so he kept it, did whatever. That's what the money shit was about. And because I believe it was 2 packs of like the cheapest fucking cigarettes on earth that first night. Is all I think they wanted. I don't know. I've still got the receipts for that, and hell, you can probably see it in my first bid that night that I've since made public. What was being gotten, but yeah, I just, you know, because it was a whole like 10 minutes before we got to call the company and the feds had hit ground, and they were asking for us after we were told we could go out for a few minutes to get food from me that day, because that's where Monster and I were going when he was supposed to pick me up at the bottom that day when he got in. But obviously plans changed because an average Tuesday went from an average Tuesday to a not an average Tuesday rather quickly. So anyway, Fred's full of it. He's always been full of it. And like I've said for the longest time since he came out that garbage about seeing Monster on the road, I knew it was bullshit. And I know what he's been shown. And the rest of us were indeed shown that. Same things, but I've seen it before, even law enforcement and feds seen it. So that's how I know what he was shown. But I also know why he was probably shown that. And I can only speculate at the reasons, or if he made something from it that wasn't, or if, I don't know, but if it was done for any other reason than that, then it showed certain people that, well, Fred's Fred. Anyway, and he, for some reason, was probably much like CD and the rest, trying to sling shit where it didn't belong on everybody else that it didn't belong on, anyways. But I just keep coming back to the part where Fred, in those first couple days before online was even really a thing, and he was the one that mentioned the exact amount, saying Dawn was in debt. He mentioned the exact amount that then started being mentioned here online. And then sort of became the amount they all were trying to raise online. It was, in hindsight now, it has a flavor on it, quite frankly. And then it kind of, with the tone change he had with that one video interview with Bones, where he's like, yeah, he's talking about everything else. He's all into the story and fairy tale weaving of Hans Christian Hill. But then he's like, well, the cops have really been like, they were grilling the shit out of me, whatever it was. It was said in a more serious tone. You could tell he just kind of skipped over it, but he said he'd been interviewed heavily about the reward stuff. So I don't know. He just very skipped over. I don't know what the hell's going on. I really don't. But, and I thought Fred was maybe right first place, because his whole thing was instantly that he thought Candace and Dawn were setting him up. Now, considering Dawn had paid him a visit the first night Summer vanished, I thought, well, yeah, I don't know, man. Maybe. Whatever you say. I think anything's a possibility. I think there's a lot of motherfuckers and they're doing some crazy shit, but there's a level of mistrust and then everything else grew. It's like, I don't know. And then you hear and see certain things. And I remember Fred starting to flip out day 3, 4, coming down there and flipping the entire fuck out, especially, and really then insetting into the Dawn and Candace, trying to set him up. He was swearing that the scent dogs had hit on his vehicles, his property, etc. He was flipping shit. So that's true, but well, at least as far as Fred tells it, right? But it's like hearing him with Monster yesterday say, as they're both agreeing that they're children of blah 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 from Beach Creek. And yeah, I would have never thought a child from Beach Creek would have ever vanished on Earth. I would have laughed in your face at 6:08 p.m. on Tuesday, June 15th. Absolutely, I would have laughed in your face. But Fred immediately, after Summer vanished, was telling me that another little girl looked just like Summer, blah, blah, same age, everything, had been taken from a meth thing that they had going up in the hills and mountains back towards the holler and shit, and that they moved around, but it hadn't been reported because the little girl was, below school age. Just the other, in hindsight, it's like, man, ain't that a little weird? But there he is with Monster last night saying, no, I've never known of any others, to ever vanish. But hell, he told me he knew of one that had, and knew, he said he knew the people. But there he is listening. And I'm like, then why in the fuck were you saying this shit, I don't know. I just hope he told the feds or law enforcement about it. But now, it's changed too. I don't know, guys.